I would like to talk to you about a topic that I feel never really gets preached from the pulpit, and that topic is on commitment. Being in singles ministry, we unfortunately see a rampant lack of commitment. Now, whether you realize it or not, commitment affects every area of your life, from your job to all of your relationships, to your character, to your finances, and lastly, and most importantly, it affects your relationship with God. I'll start first with talking about your job. In your job, if you're not committed to doing a good day's work or showing up on time with a good attitude, you'll most likely be fired. When it comes to relationships, if you're not committed to loving and helping those around you, you most likely won't have much support when you need help from them. With your character, if you're not committed to being honest, or if you don't honor the commitments that you've made, people will know that you are not a person of your word and that you're someone who can't be trusted. With your finances, if you're not committed to paying your bills on time, you will destroy your credit. And if you're not committed to saving money, you will be destitute when a financial hardship strikes. And lastly, with your relationship with God, if you're not committed to loving the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and serving Him by doing His will and not your own, then you may want to question if you're even saved, or maybe you're just a lukewarm Christian. Revelation 3:15 through 16 says, I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. When it comes to commitment, there's generally three types of people. First, there are those who make a commitment and don't honor it. It might be because they were just too busy. It might be because they didn't want to say no to somebody and they wanted to just soothe their worries, so they told them what they wanted to hear. It might be because they faced some unforeseen hardship or inconvenience. It might have been because they had some opportunity of fun that came up. We call that the BBD, the bigger, better deal, and they just decided they wanted to do that instead. Second, there are those who rarely commit to anything, which keeps them safe from facing any sort of inconvenience, or in their mind, anyone thinking bad about them for not following through because they never made a commitment. And lastly, there are those that are happy to make a commitment and will follow through with honoring it no matter what hardship or discomfort they will face. As Christians, we are to be people of our word, people with integrity, people who strive to reflect the very nature and character of Christ. Romans 12:10 through 13 says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Devoted means committed. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Philippians 2:1 through 4 says, if any of you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from His love, if any fellowship with the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and purpose. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Matthew 5:14 through 16 says, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. Do not forget that we are in a spiritual war. Satan will always throw wrenches at you to tempt you to dishonor your commitments. He is crafty and deceptive. Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." You may not realize this, but dishonoring a commitment is actually a sin. Whether you know it or not, you cannot release yourself from a commitment. You have to ask to be released. That is what a godly man or woman of character would do. When I was young, my father taught me that my word should be better than any signature placed on any piece of paper. If I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I follow through and do it no matter what. Some of you may know my story. I used to be a real estate developer before I got into full-time ministry. I ate, slept, and drank real estate 24/7. I was always thinking about the next deal. But I started to feel convicted that even on my Sabbath, even on Sunday, I could not stop thinking about real estate, and that really bothered me. So I made a commitment to God that when Sunday came, which was my Sabbath, that I would not do anything real estate related. So I called up my real estate agents and I said, "Do not even call me on Sunday." So after telling them not to call me, of course I get a call on Sunday and I see that it's one of my real estate agents. And what it was they had a client that wanted one of my high dollar properties, and this was their last day for their tax-free 1031 tax-free exchange that they had to put an offer in on a property. And I was not going to take the bait. I said, "Lord, I am committed to you. I am not going to call them back." And sure enough, I lost the deal. But I was okay with that because I wanted to show God that I was fully and completely committed to Him and honoring the Sabbath. And amazingly, just a few weeks later, I was able to sell that property for near my asking price. So God blessed me anyway with holding hard to that commitment. And I know that everything comes from Him anyway. So we should be fully and completely committed to Him and to His kingdom. So I love this verse in 2 Corinthians, and here's what it says. "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making His appeal through us." We are to be the light of the world. We are to reflect Christ in our life and our lifestyles. So that is a great reminder to us that we are Christ's ambassadors. We are to be people of our word, people who hold to our commitments. Love you guys. Take care and God bless.